that cookie, put that cookie down, down, cook it down, cook it down, put that cookie down, down, put that cookie down.
Hello and welcome to Big Dumb Movie, where we talk about a different Big Dumb movie every episode. I'm your host Corey, and I'm here with my co-hosts Alan.
Hello.
And Steve.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, Steve. Speaking of happy holidays, we watched a happy holiday classic.
Is it a classic?
It's got to be a classic. Jingle All The Way.
From 1996, the same year as Space Jam.
Yeah, same year as the last episode.
Good vintage.
So in 1996, we had Space Jam and Jingle All The Way in the same year.
I know, what a great year for cinema.
You know, if you age wine improperly, it just turns into vinegar, and it feels like, unfortunately, it's happened with a lot of the movies I enjoyed as a kid.
Yet, some of them just don't quite hold up, do they?
No.
Space Jam was directed by a guy called Brian Levant, who did a couple other dumb movies that we might cover one day, including Problem Child 2, The Flintstones, Beethoven, and The Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas.
Oh, wow.
Dude, I vote for Beethoven.
We might be able to do that someday. We'll circle back to that thought. So what'd you guys think of this heap of shit?
The intro, it started off like way crazy. It just, with the weird intro where he shows Turbo Man fighting Dementor and those weird creatures. It's like a really shitty Power Rangers knockoff.
Yeah, that's the way this movie opens up, just like a Power Rangers episode. It looks really hokey, and they're at Vasquez Rocks. Dementor is the bad guy, and he's fighting Turbo Man, the good guy, which I guess is supposed to be like a Power Rangers knockoff. I heard that said somewhere else, but I don't remember where. I can definitely see it.
Yeah, the creatures like the putties. It's the same style. It's really corny, and all the little creatures are trying to fight Turbo Man, and he just starts defeating them, and then
yeah, he's like a Power Ranger Iron Man kind of guy.
Yeah.
He has like the jetpack, Rocketeer style jetpack, and he has projectiles and stuff. And this is like the biggest sensation the world has ever seen, apparently.
It's like the most popular show in the universe. The like most continually established thing through this film is that everybody, including the adults, loves Turbo Man.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole movie, just everybody knows Turbo Man. Everybody knows about it. It's like a obsessed
cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, at one point Arnold's just walking down the street and some guy runs by and he's like, "This store, I got a shipment of Turbo Man dolls." Like, he's just announcing it to the world because that's how awesome Turbo Man is.
Good news! We got a late delivery of Turbo Man at Toy Works. Let's go! Turbo Man! Turbo Man!
Turbo Man, the hit sensation, 1996. So the Turbo Man like craze, I read this on the IMDb page. It was mimicking the not Cabbage Patch.
Was it Furby?
The Cabbage Patch, I can remember being a huge thing as well. There was a similar situation with Cabbage Patch dolls. I can remember my mom trying to get one for a cousin who's a couple years older than me, and they're telling me the story about it, and that it was almost impossible to find them that Christmas. There was also the Tickle Me Elmo.
Yes,
Tickle
it
Me
was
Elmo.
the Cabbage Patch. You're right. It was based on that, and the Tickle Me Elmo came out the year that Turbo Man came out.
Right.
So it was like perfect for the time. The Tickle Me Elmo was a stupid fucking toy. Like I didn't.
No, it was really dumb.
It was just like any other noise toy, where
Right.
it's just like a doll that like you touch it and it moves and makes noise. Right. There were so many of those. What was special about that one?
Marketing.
Yeah, I always preferred Billy the Singing Bass myself. If you're gonna go for that kind of toy.
Probably, just the right year, the right time. Marketing, stupid kids. Probably did a bunch of research, like what they probably, looked into what kids want and found out, kids like Elmo for some reason now.
Yeah, that bass toy though, man, I forgot about that. Thanks for bringing that back. That was like an infomercial toy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, is that the one where he's on the plaque and he like?
Yeah, it's supposed to look like a huge trophy bass.
Oh
that you
yeah,
caught at
yeah.
the
And his
lake
tail
with,
moves and
yeah,
he
and he
says
sings
stuff.
and stuff.
Yeah.
I think there were a few variations on that idea as well.
That should have been the toy in this movie. It should have been the trophy bass.
Trophy bass. That's what every kid wants for Christmas is the singing faux trophy bass.
Shit, I kind of want that now.
Right?
Always keep your trophy bass if you want to keep your friends. So we get introduced to our characters in this movie pretty early on after that Power Rangers episode with the family, and they're gonna go to the karate class, I guess, for the kid, or he's like upgrading his belt.
He's going to like a belt graduation ceremony.
Yeah, that's right. He's in karate. And he's going to a belt graduation ceremony with his mom, but his dad's at work, right?
Yeah, because you can see he's like work obsessed. His
Yeah.
assistant has to hold up signs for him.
Yeah,
he
cue
doesn't have
cards.
time to communicate.
To the point where apparently he's like the CEO of the company, they sell mattresses, and while everyone who works for him is having a party downstairs, he's up on the phone taking orders for 200 mattresses at a time
Yeah.
from people.
And it's like the biggest stupid misdirect in this movie when they say, "Oh, I'm sure he'll be here soon. I don't think he's doing anything important." And then it cuts to like a party, and it's supposed to like give you the idea that he's at this party, but he's not. He's just in his office working.
Right? I guess he's supposed to underline that like even he doesn't even attend his own company party. He's such a workaholic. you
Yeah,
know?
him and his secretary.
He somehow is not at the party with everyone else.
So he's gonna miss the kid's karate class and rushes over after, I don't know, spending an hour or however long on the phone. It reminded me a lot of the movie Hook. Like the
Yeah.
beginning of Hook is like that, where he misses his kid's baseball game to the point where his neighbor that's at the karate class records it on his like VHS camcorder, and the same thing actually happens in Hook.
I liked when Arnold was driving to the karate class and he cuts off all the people by driving on the shoulder.
Right.
And then he makes like a really jerky like smirk. He's like, ah, ha, ha, like I did it. It's like, yo, you just cut off all those people, and he's like smirking, like he's so proud of himself.
It's such a slimy cheat. Like, I'm going to drive in the emergency lane while everyone else does what they're supposed to and just sits here in traffic.
Yeah, everyone in this movie is a piece of shit.
Right? Then when he gets pulled over for it, he's like, "Officer, my kid's got a karate thing or
Like,
something."
yeah, that's
whatever.
what you blame it on.
Yeah. I'm trying to get to this karate belt stuff. Nah.
And the officer is like, "Well, you know what? I'm in this movie, so I'm a piece of shit too. So I'm going to give you a field sobriety test. And you're definitely going to miss this class."
So then Arnold eventually shows up to the class, but when he shows up, it shows him like cleaning all the stuff. Like they've been closed for like at least an hour or two.
Yeah, all the parents have left. You know, like at these kind of events, the parents will stay around and talk while the kids run around. They're all gone. The janitor's cleaning up.
They're like brushing all the signs. Everything's closed.
You left substantially later than you should have from the office to begin with, then sat in traffic, then spent what probably ended up being an hour with the police officers. Why would you think that you were going to get there on time?
Yeah, like, oh, I'm gonna make it.
This is like the single worst conception of time a grown-up has ever had ever. It's like, well, you know what? This thing only was supposed to start, 4 hours ago or something at this point.
At some point, you got to cut your losses, you know?
Right? You got to figure, you know what? Like, this thing started at 5 and it's now 9:15. It's probably not happening anymore.
But he gets all the way there. He shows up to the very front door, and they've been closed for a while.
Yeah. So he goes home and, you know, obviously the kid is pissed at him for this. He tries to, like, you know, play nice with the kid, but the kid ain't having it.
This is where, when he goes home, before he talks to his kid, this is where Ted, the neighbor...
Oh, Phil Hartman.
Yeah, Phil Hartman is putting lights on his house.
Hey, neighbor!
Ted, what the hell are you doing on my roof?
What's Ted doing on your roof? Ta-da! I had some extra lights in the garage, and since you didn't put up any yourself, I thought, what the heck? Why not spread a little Christmas cheer around the neighborhood?
Oh, gee, Ted, how thoughtful.
Hey, sorry you missed the karate class today, but don't worry, I got it all on video for you.
Yes.
Which is really weird.
You ever go home and there's a guy on your roof putting up Christmas lights?
And his reasoning for it is really insane. It's like, well, you didn't bother to put any Christmas lights on your house, so I took it
So I
upon myself
did it
to
for you.
crawl up on your roof and start hanging my lights on
And
your
there's a
house.
lot of lights
Yeah.
there. Like, he
Right.
set up like a whole big setup.
I just got 70 houses to go on this street, and that'll be a night for me.
Right? Like, if this were the 1880s and you were hanging lights on someone else's ranch, they'd probably just shoot you. Like,
And Arnold's okay with it. He's like, what does he say?
he's just like, yeah, fine, do it. Whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He concedes. He doesn't say, get the fuck off my roof, you weirdo.
Right?
Take your lights with you. Like, what are you doing?
Are you schizophrenic? Like,
Take your fucking reindeer. You're a stupid fucking kid. Get the fuck off my roof.
This obnoxious weirdo is on my roof hanging his lights because he didn't like the fact that I didn't put any on my house.
Stop trying to bang my wife.
Like, yeah, that, I mean, especially, I don't know. That seems like a confrontation moment to me, but maybe I'm too prone to that. Like,
Yeah, Ted's weird from the get-go.
I mean, for what it's worth, he does a good job at being weird. I mean, throughout this whole movie, I'm like, oh, fucking Ted, you creep. But I guess that's what they're going for, so mission accomplished, you know?
Yeah, which I thought was a strange... Why? Like, what's the point of that? They just threw him in there just to be weird and...
They got two villains in this movie. They got Ted, the weirdo, and they got the angry cop, who is impervious to bombs.
You know what I should have done really is just picture Lionel Hutz the entire time. It would have made his character way more... Ted's character way more entertaining to picture him as being the skeezy lawyer from The Simpsons.
So we're back in the house. We got Arnold Schwarzenegger talking to the kid, and he says, come on, what can I do to make it up for you? And the kid says, well, I want a Turbo Man doll. How exactly does that conversation go?
He's kind of like apologetic. He comes into the house, the kid's angry, the kid storms upstairs to his bedroom. Schwarzenegger's character is kind of apologetic about it and tries to make conversation about the purple belt that the kid received at the class, and then basically says, what do I have to do to make it up to you? And of course the kid's answer is, well, buy me something.
You can either buy me the toy or give me the cash.
Right? Like, that's the spirit of the holidays, is you missed this thing I wanted you to be at, so I get a gift.
Buy me Bone Storm or go to hell.
What'd you think about the kid actor? His name's Jake Lloyd, Allen. Are you familiar with this kid's body of work? You specifically, Allen?
Yeah, you guys, I know you guys are making a lot of jokes to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alan, did you know that this kid plays Darth Vader?
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it is, huh?
Yeah. He plays Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace.
No, you're right. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. No, that's the kid. I was thinking the other guy, Hayden
Christensen.
Christensen. I was thinking.
Who was also in
I was thinking of him.
Yeah. He was grown-up Anakin.
Yeah, grown up Anakin. Yeah, but this is one of his first movies, right? I think.
Yeah, he did this before The Phantom Menace, and this movie actually helped him get the role in The Phantom Menace. This has been talked about a lot on the internet, so I'm sure it's not news to anyone. But there were other auditions, obviously, for Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace, and other better actors did apply. You can see the not the interviews, but the casting sessions online, and the other kids are far and away better than Jake Lloyd. But Jake Lloyd got the role because he had done this movie, and he was like considered to be reliable in the acting world because he had done another movie before.
A good chunk of the audition material for the kids is in the bonus material on the. I don't know about the single discs, but if you get the big collection of all 6 Star Wars films on Blu-ray, the bonus material definitely includes a lot of the audition footage for Episode 1.
Yeah, I've watched it, and there's one kid in there that's particularly good.
And he, like, I think it was, if we're thinking of the same kid, he's one of the last 2 or 3 along with Lloyd.
Yeah,
He's obviously better, and for some reason Lucas is like, well, let's just use this kid.
He was in Jingle All The Way.
Yeah.
And he was great in it.
Right?
Did you think the kid was a good actor, Alan?
I am indifferent to him in this movie. I didn't really notice or hate him. He was just kind of there. I thought he might have sounded a little whiny, but I'm indifferent at least for this movie because I didn't mind or care. It was a dumb movie anyways.
Yep.
So I wasn't concerned with the kids acting so much.
You're pretty forgiving.
They made him. I think part of it was the screenwriting and directing's fault. If I'm being honest, I'm not saying he was a great actor, but they made him too much of a kid. He, as soon as the conversation topic of the Turbo Man toy comes up, he just has to be super excited about it, and super animated about it. And I can see Chris Columbus or the director in this case, who was not Chris Columbus, whatever the guy's name was. Getting down on a knee with Jake Lloyd and being like, he's going to bring up this toy and you need to be super excited about it. This is a toy you really want. And Jake Lloyd just is like the best his poor little heart could do. And he couldn't make it be better than it was. And it was bad to begin with. And the whole movie, that's the one consistent thing I thought about his performance is they made it, they over
Like too scripted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I want this kid to be the most a kid I could possibly make him. Like to an
He's
extreme.
Like, puts his hands on his shoulders and is like shaking him violently. Be a kid. Be a fucking kid.
Can't you be more of a child, you child?
I'm a person and my name is Anakin.
Do you think he likes sand?
I'm a person, and my name is Anakin.
Oh, God. All right. So here's the big plot point. He agrees to get him a Turbo Man toy, which is, as we know, the most popular thing that exists in the Jingle All The Way universe. So there's no way it's going to happen because the next day is Christmas Eve. His wife says he was supposed to get one a few weeks ago, but he didn't do it because, he was too busy with the mattresses.
Backtracking a little, this is where you see Arnold wearing a shirt that says Atlanta 1996.
Oh, you know what? I hadn't noticed the 1996 part on the shirt, and it occurs to me right now it was a 96 Olympics shirt. The 96 Olympics were in Atlanta, and that was the big, huge one where Carrie Strug messed her leg up real bad during the final gymnastics routine and won the gold anyway.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
okay,
that makes it was the same. It was the same
sense.
year the film came out, so it makes complete sense that he would have had a.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that actually makes sense now.
Yeah.
Oh, good pull, man.
Yeah, I don't know why. I even have because I've got family in Atlanta. Somebody came visit, brought me and my brother each a little Atlanta '96 Olympics watch. I'd forgotten about completely, but yeah, there was a bomb threat at that Olympics. Yeah.
There's a bomb threat in this film.
There's 2 bomb threats in this film.
Yeah.
You could say there's several bomb threats.
So it goes to the next day where Arnold is going to go try to do some last-minute Christmas shopping to get the ever-so-popular Turbo Man toy. And on his way out, he encounters Ted, who has purchased a reindeer.
A reindeer, like a full reindeer.
Yeah, like a real reindeer, not like a lawn ornament, like a living and breathing reindeer.
You're gonna keep all year long somehow.
Well, he has this weird plan to release it to a family of reindeer that he's been scouting.
Oh, that's right.
This guy's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah,
man.
he's a way weird, like a
Sociopath.
serial killer.
I only bring it up because we're going to talk about the reindeer again later. So we go to the toy shopping time where he meets Sinbad. So essentially he goes to the first toy store he can find, and he's waiting in line for the toy store to open early in the morning. And he meets Sinbad in line, who is clearly not a sane
I
person.
didn't have enough pressure in my life. My son sends me out for some goofy butt toy, some fruity robot named Turtle Man.
It's Turbo Man. My son wants one too.
Don't you watch TV? We are being set up by rich and powerful toy cartels.
Oh, come
Now
on.
you got these big fat cats sit there using working class just like me and you. They spend billions of dollars on TV advertisement, and then they sit there and use subliminal messages to suck your children's minds out.
Go ahead.
I wouldn't even say I wouldn't even use the word meet. Sinbad just kind of, well, they do meet, but Sinbad comes up to him out of nowhere and just starts ranting to him. Sinbad initiates everything. Arnold's just minding his own business, and Sinbad comes over and starts talking about stuff and starts talking about the Turbo Man doll.
Yeah, he's clearly off his rocker. He just gets super worked up to the point where he starts strangling another woman in line. He's like, I don't remember exactly what he says. He's like, you get so mad and you start choking people, and then he starts literally choking
Yeah,
someone.
he has his hands around her neck. He's strangling this woman in the middle of a shopping store. Everyone's watching him strangle this woman.
You know what I like to do? I like to walk up in that office, grab one of those guys, and just choke him until his eye pops out.
Nobody, the cops don't get called. Security doesn't get yelled for. No one says anything to him like, "Hey, stop choking that woman." Yeah.
There's a lot of violence in this movie. My theory is that in the universe that this movie exists in, due to the popularity of Turbo Man, people have become immune to violence. So when someone just starts choking someone, it's okay. Turbo Man has gone that far. It's ingrained violence into the society.
Absolutely.
Turbo Man's driven them mad.
Yeah. The bloodlust, That's what everyone expected to happen when the Mortal Kombat game came out. They thought we'd live in a Jingle All The Way society. So obviously in the toy store, they're out of Turbo Man. And the employees are very rude about this fact, actually. So he goes inside, and there's a ton of Turbo Man toys, but not of the Turbo Man guy himself. It's always the sidekick Booster, which everyone inexplicably hates. They hate this guy.
I love Booster.
They hate him. It's not even Booster's not that popular. It's people want to destroy the Booster dolls. There's this actual hatred directed toward this character for no explained reason.
Going back, when they open the store, it just turns into pure pandemonium.
Oh, it's like
There's-
Black Friday.
Yeah,
for sure.
but beyond that, you see people running into shelving. You see people knocking over displays. People are being like thrown, trampled.
Oh, yeah.
You see stuff like whole shelves getting knocked over. It's just like a free for all. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
It's pandemonium.
Yeah.
My brother and I inadvertently caught them filming that scene
Oh, across from
across from the sushi.
yeah,
Where
across
was this?
from Light and
So
Healthy.
there's a little shopping center in Tarzana in the San Fernando Valley that used to have a Play Company toy store in it, and it was actually an awesome toy store in a lot of ways. It's the only toy store I ever knew that had an Atari Jaguar demo station set up, and my mother used to get her nails done at a place that was at the other end of the shopping center, and I think we must have been on summer break, but for one reason or another. Because we were on break or it was a Saturday or whatever, my brother and I would get dragged with her. She'd say, go spend the hour in the toy store. I'll find you when I'm done with my appointment. My brother and I went with her one day, and I think it was summer break. It was like June, July, and we tried to go over to the toy store, and we got told you can't go in. They're shooting a movie in here. And it turned out the first of the two fight scenes that takes place between Sinbad and Arnold Schwarzenegger is what they were filming in the store. There's a separate second Toy Store fight scene. I don't know where that one was filmed. Also, the exterior they used for this first fight scene was not the toy store they filmed it inside of. I do not know where that exterior was. But, yeah, and we met... I specifically remember meeting Arnold Schwarzenegger's stunt double, who I'm pretty sure is the same stunt double that also rode the motorcycle for him in T2. And we met Sinbad, who was... Side note, Sinbad must have lived in that part of the valley, Woodland Hills, Canoga Park, somewhere in that neighborhood, because I used to see him all the time. I would bump into him in the mall. I would bump into him in Tower Records. I would bump into him all over I'm not saying he remembered me, but he was all over the place. We even bumped into him in a Discovery Fun Zone once. I mean, like...
Sinbad was in DZ?
Yeah, and he was actually there with the little girl who played his daughter on the sitcom that he was in at the time. So, I don't know why.
Shout out to Sinbad if you're listening.
And look, like, Sinbad seemed like a super, super cool, nice, genuine dude. A friend of mine managed the Tower Records that he used to occasionally shop at. Said he was always friendly as a customer, but like no bad stories I'm aware of about Sinbad. But it was kind of interesting.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Is it possible that Sinbad was just secretly following you around, like as a kid, like scatting you out for some kind of weird, like...
Jingle All The Way too?
I prefer to think that's the case.
You were almost in that sequel they never made.
Oh yeah.
No, they did make that sequel.
Wait, did they really?
Yeah, with Larry the Cable Guy.
There's really
I
a
shit
sequel?
you not. When
Oh,
I was
man.
going to buy Jingle All The Way for us to watch it, I saw Jingle All The Way too, and Larry the Cable Guy was right on the front.
Oh my god. How recent is that?
I have no idea. I would estimate, though, it's got to be fairly
Like
during
new.
his reign of terror,
Right.
when he was a popular thing for
So,
some
like,
reason that I'll never understand.
Right?
2010 to 2014.
That's got to
Yeah.
be while they were doing that. What did they call the Redneck
Or-
Comedy Tour or whatever it was?
Yeah.
2007 to 2013 or something.
I mean, I think Ron White's pretty funny, but Larry the Cable Guy,
No.
I'm sorry, no.
No.
Well, he's definitely died down in popularity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you know there's kind of a scandal with him? Apparently he was never a cable guy.
You don't say.
So we're shopping for toys. Not us, but Arnold Schwarzenegger as his character Howard.
Yeah, and you mentioned that the employees are like laughing in their faces.
Yeah, they're laughing in their faces because they want to buy a Turbo Man.
And the employees laugh like they're dumb, like they're mocking them, like, oh, you don't, like, how do you not know? You're trying to get a Turbo Man doll? Like, how dumb are you? Are you serious? Like, they don't say that, but
Yeah.
they, like, imply
They
that.
basically say
Yeah.
that.
And then they, like, laugh in their face, like,
Over here somewhere. There are none here. Oh, excuse me. Yes? I'm trying to find a Turbo Man doll. Do you have any more in the back? What? I see that one. What did I say?
These guys are looking for a Turbo Man?
A gentleman dog, yes.
Turbo Man. I hate it when I go to the store to get my kid a Shopkins toy and they're all out. And I'm like, do you guys have any Shopkins? And they just start laughing in my face. I hate that.
Fucking moron. What are you doing here?
you think we'd have a Turbo Man doll? What are you, stupid?
Get the fuck out of our store, you piece of shit. Go kill yourself.
Oh, jeez, guys, I'm sorry. Here's a tip before I commit suicide.
How dare you ask for a Turbo Man doll? Yeah, so the employees are just total jerks.
Yeah, they suck. So they try to look for Turbo Mans at other stores. There's a little bit of a montage. You can tell he's going from store to store, and they're showing like the action figure aisles. And they actually showcase some pretty sweet 90s action figures. They showed the Spawn toys that were really popular at that time, which were great. Like, they were some of the best looking toys I'd seen at that time. Spawn and Skeleton Warriors, which I think were made by the same company. There weren't any Skeleton Warrior toys in this movie, but those were just some cool ones I remember having.
Right.
They have a Kevin Sorbo Hercules toy that they show in this movie, which I thought was great.
Yeah, that was really funny. Yeah,
And of course, the 90s X-Men toys.
Yeah, those were fantastic.
Absolutely. I had so many X-Men toys, man.
Right? I've gotten a lot of crap for saying this before, but I still think Chris Claremont's era in X-Men is my favorite.
Oh, who would give you crap for that? It's
Right.
like a fact.
Right.
Don't write in.
We don't want to know about your opposing opinion. It's fine. Just keep it to yourself.
So, he can't find the toy, obviously. It's the hottest thing around. He goes to call into his house at some point to talk to his wife. I don't know what for. It's never really clearly explained that what is he going to tell her? That he can't find the toy? I don't know. But he calls his house and he reaches Phil Hartman.
Oh,
Because Phil Hartman's hanging around his house trying to fuck his wife.
Yeah, here's another weird ass scene with Ted, who's just steadily reoccurring throughout the film, just being weird.
Yeah, just being a piece of shit.
So here he answers the phone in Arnold's house. Like, how weird is that? Hey, you call your house and some guy answers? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and he starts telling him how he's eating the cookies, and, you know, you get the famous put that cookie down line.
Oh, these cookies! I gotta get the recipe from Les.
Put that cookie down now.
Yeah, did everything not get out of my house? Or like, why are you there? He's like, put the cookie down.
Put that cookie down now.
I mean, at some point, you just gotta, like, set him aside and be like, look, Ted, you're a weird fucking dude, and I don't want you hanging around my house anymore.
You can put up Christmas lights without my permission. You can come into my house and mess with all my stuff. You can try to bang my wife, but you cannot eat my fucking cookies.
Put the cookie down.
The cookie down. I'd rather you beat my son than eat my cookies, Ted.
But Arnold, the whole time, just seems like slightly annoyed by it, or he seems like slightly off by it, but just never really gets mad until the end. But
Maybe I'm just a dick, but I would have said something for sure.
oh,
dude.
absolutely, yeah. Any sane person would have.
So they get word at this point that there's going to be one toy store that has a new shipment of Turbo Man toys. They got like a late delivery. And that's the point that I mentioned before where a guy just runs down the street yelling that information.
No, we got a late delivery of Turbo Man at Toy Works. Let's go.
Turbo Man.
Turbo Man.
like a town crier. He's like making announcements.
Heary, heary.
Turbo Man doll in stock.
Turbo Man doll hits the stores.
Turbo Man's back on the shelves.
All right,
Toy Works announced a surprise shipment.
Like this grown adult just yelling about Turbo Man.
And if it's that rare, would you really want to be sharing that information with just every passerby on the street?
Right? You just make sure you say that outside the car on the sidewalk as loudly as possible while you run. That's the best way to do this without drawing any attention at all.
So, of course, everyone rushes over to this store, which is located in the Mall of America. And they don't have that many. They're doing like a lottery with these little bouncy balls that have a number, and they're going to call random numbers, like Keno style. And if you get the winning number, then you get to buy a toy that they mark up a lot.
Those balls look like just regular bouncy balls. I never once saw a number on any of them. They were all different colored, just bouncy balls.
Wow, I never noticed that.
Did you
but
ever
you're
see a
right.
number on any of
Never
them?
see the number on it.
So, well, if you have like the small orange ball you won, like, how do they keep track of that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in almost every mall in the 90s that I can remember being in had like a section where there were vending machines, one of which had rubber bouncy balls in it. So
Yeah, it looked like that.
Right? Schwarzenegger should have just broken open a machine and taken a ball out and be like, yo, give me one of those.
But instead he chooses to like hunt down a kid.
Yeah, well, he narrows down one ball that he wants to chase, and that ball leaves the store, bounces down through the Mall of America into the hands of a kid who goes into a playground-like thing, and he just starts crawling through the playground tubes. He jumps in the ball pit, chasing after this fucking kid, man. The kid puts the ball in their mouth. Arnold Schwarzenegger grabs the kid to get it out of her mouth. Like, what?
Yeah, so now he's like, grab someone's kid.
Yeah. A bunch of angry moms start beating him with purses.
Rightfully
it's all bad.
so. Yeah, I mean,
It's kind of strange to think that that's what would happen. You know, a bunch of random women hit you with their purse and you walk away. Right? You know, no security never shows up. No cops get called. Nobody screams child molester. Like this strange man chasing a child through a play area and then ends up in a ball pit with that kid, where he then tries to grab the kid by the face.
He's clearly been chasing this kid around. Like,
Right.
but yeah, he just gets hit with some purses and then he's allowed to leave, and it's like nothing ever happened.
yeah.
Like he didn't grab that kid.
I remember that being a thing a lot in like 90s movies and before the 90s even too, where women would hit people with their purses.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't think that happened in real life that much, but that was definitely a movie thing back in the day. I don't see it anymore.
That was a kind of a lost trope at this point.
Yeah. For the better. That shit's lame.
It is.
That happened in Ninja Turtles, the first one.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
Oh.
There was a part when April O'Neil, when she's going to the subway and she misses her train, and she turns around and all of a sudden there's just like a ton of Foot Clan guys.
Yeah.
And they're like, "We have come to deliver a message, Miss O'Neil."
Your mouth may yet bring you much trouble, Miss O'Neil. I deliver a message. Shut it.
And like the guy opens his hand and like he slaps her across the face. And then she's like, "All right, you asked for it," and she starts hitting him with her purse.
All right. Absolutely.
Oh, I could go on with the movie, but
I
I'll leave it
remember
at
that scene specifically.
So as Arnold Schwarzenegger is leaving the scene, he is approached by Jim Belushi dressed as Santa Claus. Jim Belushi, what's he in other than that Tim Allen movie where he teaches him how to fight?
Well, his own TV show, famously, The Blues Brothers, started his career on SNL. One of his most famous SNL characters was called the Samurai Butcher. It's probably my favorite bit of his.
Oh, that's the Blues Brothers Belushi?
Yeah.
Isn't that a different Belushi?
Well, his brother, I thought they were both in it. His brother, absolutely. You know, you're right. It was his brother and Dan Aykroyd. He was not in it. But he was on SNL. No, his brother was also. No, his brother was the
See,
Samurai Butcher.
you're running into the problem I have all the time. I'm like,
yeah.
No, his
Which
brother
Belushi
was in
that?
the Blues Brothers. He's the one that died.
Yeah, the one, his brother who was deceased was on the Blues Brothers and on SNL. Now, and he's been in like 1,000,001 things, and I can never separate him from his brother in my head.
the only thing I remember him from is Joe Somebody, and that's the Tim Allen movie I mentioned.
Yeah, and which at that point is already like 30 years into his career.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he meets him and he's a weird Santa, and he takes him to like a warehouse where he finds out.
Well, yeah, Jim Belushi's like, "So you want to buy a Turbo Man, huh?"
Yeah.
Buddy, come here. Come here. You want a Turbo Man for Christmas?
Forget it. I'm not gonna sit in your lap.
Hey, Chief, that's not my bag. Get it? But you know, little boy, with your attitude, I don't think I want to give you access to this. Tony, show him.
That was taken this morning.
Now you want that doll or not?
I can get you a Turbo Man.
You know what? I think he played the second lead alongside James Woods in Salvador, which was an Academy Award-winning film.
What year?
80 something, very earlier mid-80s.
Right on.
Right? Oliver Stone movie.
Good pull.
Right.
So Jim Belushi's like, I can get you a Turbo Man. You just gotta come to this really shady warehouse. So Arnold Schwarzenegger goes with him and his little elf guy to this like racketeering Santa Claus warehouse, where apparently a bunch of like guys dressed as Santa steal goods and sell them to people.
And there's like a lot of them there too.
Yeah, there's got to be like what 80 of these guys.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of them in there.
They have a Turbo Man doll, but it's a piece of shit that's all actually broken and speaks Spanish.
So Arnold demands his $300 back.
Yeah, they charge him $300 for this piece of shit.
For a broken Spanish language Turbo Man.
The multilingual version, as they refer to it.
Open that up. No. Es el tiempo del hambre de Turbo.
Oh, well, that's the multilingual version. It's fun and educational. Well, of course, there's some assembly required.
Let me get that for you.
So this is, we get there, the big fight with all the Santa Clauses, which is like one of the staples of this movie, I think. Arnold Schwarzenegger fighting a bunch of Santa Clauses with a giant candy cane.
And how convenient and weird that there's one that just happens to be like a ninja that has nunchucks. He just kind of flips into the scene.
Nunchucks.
Yeah. Like, why was he there before this? Like, where did he come from? And then after that, you have the big, like, bodybuilder guy he has to fight.
Well, that's the Big Show. He was a wrestler.
Was that really him?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Back in the WWF days. Maybe WWE as well.
That was really him, though?
Yeah.
The
That was the Big Show.
Right, it was.
I didn't know that.
The nunchuck bit was kind of a trope in itself. Burton did that in the first Batman. There's the scene in the first, I think the guy's got swords really instead of nunchucks, but there's a scene in the first Batman where Keaton's in the alley and he sends the blonde, now I'm blanking on Vicky Vale. He sends Vicky Vale up to the bridge using his pulley, and he stays in the alley to fight the dude. The dude comes jumping out with swords, and he's whipping them back and forth, and it looks like he's a complete and total badass, and Batman punches him in the face once, and he goes down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You weigh a little more than 108. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
You know what? To go even further, Indiana Jones.
Yeah. He pulls out the gun on the dude with the sword. Absolutely.
He just shoots him.
Well, Arnold doesn't shoot anyone, but
shockingly,
yeah, he might have.
One of the few movies where he refrains from killing anybody.
Yeah, if there were sequels, maybe.
But he definitely like fights him with his fists, and he punches a couple of them. He throws some. I mean, there's a lot of fighting in that warehouse.
Yeah.
It's like a full-on fight scene.
He's fighting a ton of guys, and eventually, like, the FBI shows up or something.
And he manages to pull another movie trope, which is here's a fake badge. I'm actually a detective. You just ruined an undercover investigation. I'm going to leave now. Will you clean this up? See you later. And the cops are all just like, oh, my God, we're so sorry. Absolutely, sir.
I'm Detective John Kimball. I'm a cop, you idiot.
I'm a cop, you idiot. I'm Detective John Kimball.
Like, oh, okay, the cops will definitely just buy this. No one needs to really look at that badge or see paperwork or have any
no
kind
one asks any questions. Like, you're just free to go. He just leaves.
Right. I mean, all these years I got pulled over, by the cops, got to get speeding tickets or whatever. I could have just been like, you idiot, I'm a detective on an investigation. What the hell you pull me over for?
When the commissioner hears about this, he's going to hit the roof.
What's your badge number, kid?
Until they find out you're impersonating an officer and it's like a federal crime.
Yeah. A lot of federal crimes happen in this movie, namely the opening of random mail.
And bomb threats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because
against
Sinbad
like,
is a mailman, and he always has his mailbag on him for some reason, and mail's just spilling out all over the place everywhere he goes. He's just...
At one point, he's like throwing it purposely.
Yeah. Really makes you lose faith in the postal system to see him handle the mail in that way.
All over a Turbo Man doll.
Next, Arnold gets kind of a little bit disheartened that he can't get the doll because he's gone to every store. He tried to buy it illegally from a Santa Claus racketeering gang. And he goes to a little diner and they meet Sinbad and they have a little bit of chat. You remember that part, Steve?
Yeah. He ends up... Sinbad tries to make up with him for fighting with him in the store and offers to partner with him to find Turbo Man figures.
Yeah.
And that's when they hear an announcement on the radio from the local radio station saying that they will win one of these toys. I should rewind half a step. Sinbad also shares a story about carrying this huge grudge against his father over a toy he was not gifted for Christmas something like 30 years before.
Yeah.
Another ridiculous movie trope. And then they hear on the radio that if they can name all of Santa's reindeer?
Yeah.
That they'll win a contest wherein the prize is the winner's choice of either the Turbo Man figure or this other thing, which apparently was a real toy.
Yeah,
that
that's
Sinbad
right.
wanted 30 years ago.
Some like all-in-one gun. I don't remember the name of
Is
it.
it like OMAR? Omar?
OMG, OMA.
Something OMA gun.
Some shit I'd never heard of, but I heard somewhere else that it was apparently a real toy a long time ago. Yeah. But the part of that conversation that I found interesting was Sinbad, he basically tells Arnold Schwarzenegger, to add insult to injury, that if he doesn't get him this toy, it will ruin the kid's life forever.
Because it ruined Sinbad's life. Yeah. Like, he'll never forget this one toy he didn't get when he was a kid. Like, it's haunted him. He's talking about it now. Like, it's haunted him forever. And
I know. I feel like Sinbad was going to be an insane person anyway. His character is just completely off the rails in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's when Arnold sees his kid. He imagines where Sinbad is, and he shows his kid drinking.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God, my kid's going to be Sinbad if I don't get him this doll.
No, anything but that.
Yeah, I mean, you can really trace the entirety of a life's worth of bad choices back to a toy gun I didn't get at 7.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
I don't remember any things that I didn't get for kids, or that I didn't get as a kid, like any special toys.
there was one for me.
Oh, there was.
There
What
was
was
one
it?
big one for me. It was Robbie the Robot for the original NES. I wanted the hell out of that robot. And
The fucking disc spinning piece of
yes,
shit?
and exactly. And I managed to convince my parents to get me a Power Glove, and it never worked correctly. Never worked quite the way it was supposed to. My father got a look at it and heard me ask for the robot and was like, "There's no way I'm doing that a second time. You're not getting that robot."
These fucking NES add-ons. When are you gonna learn, kid?
I mean, I must have been 7 years old, something like that. And the kids in my class thought the stupidest things. We thought we could program it to get us drinks. I mean, the kids were talking about it like it was a butler. Like,
These kids watched a little too much Rocky 4.
right? Happy birthday, Polly.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Polly.
And then we'll beat Drago, and then we'll end communism.
Yes.
Kids got some wild ideas, man.
That fight single-handedly collapsed the USSR.
Wow, man. Robbie the fucking Robot. What a piece of shit. I bet you wanted the 32X, too.
Yes,
The
absolutely.
32X, that thing was sick.
And the Sega CD.
Sega CD.
I had the Sega CD as a kid.
Absolutely.
But I didn't have it as an add-on. My mom got us, because we didn't have a Sega either. She got us the Sega with the Sega CD already built in.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, no, okay, no, wait a second. Did you have the one that was the Genesis and the Sega CD that were joined on together like on a tray, or did you have the one that was actually the combo unit?
It was
These are
actually
the
the
combo
combo
The
unit.
unit.
CDX?
I don't know if it was called that, but it might have been.
Man, if that's what I think it is, don't ever look at what they sell for on eBay now.
My mom might still have it.
We should
get it
dig
from
it up
her.
if she
Yeah.
does. Absolutely.
She'll listen to this. Mom, text me if you still have it.
Sonic CD was also one of the best
We
Sonic
had
games.
that game.
That
Yes,
game was
it's a great
amazing.
game.
Yeah.
One of my favorite games on that was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Yeah. Which I know it sounds like shit, but it was actually a pretty fun, like, kind of like not an RPG, but it was one of those games where you walk around and you collect items and you kind of got to like
An interactive.
yeah, and it goes into like
Yeah.
a Mortal Kombat style fight mode when it comes to a boss and stuff. It was cool. I liked it.
Sewer Shark?
Sewer Shark.
So you don't remember Sewer Shark?
No.
Sewer Shark was like the first full motion video game ever. It was one of the, I think, release titles for the Sega CD, and it was about a dude who flew like a jet thing through sewer tunnels fighting all these monsters.
Was it a point and click game?
Sort of, but it had a lot of interspersed video footage.
Man, I don't know. Those point and clicks really fucking bugged me. It felt like a waste of a game. Like when I would buy a game and I
right.
thought it was really cool. Like the Masked Rider was a really good example. I was like, oh, this is gonna be dope. I'm gonna be fighting guys like Power Rangers,
So
and it's just a point and click.
Did you not like Myst?
I liked Myst, yeah, but Myst I could never figure out. Like I was not intellectual enough at 11 years old to understand Myst. I liked the mystery of it.
Yes, absolutely. We're supposed to be talking about Jingle All The Way.
Did we talk about Myst last episode as well?
You know, we had a conversation about that Disneyland island, and they almost made it Myst Island. Stop! We gotta stop doing this.
Okay, so back to Jingle All The Way. I think where we left off was they heard on the radio that the radio station had one of the dolls if they
Yes.
could name all the reindeer.
Yeah.
So-
Arnold Schwarzenegger tries to call in, but Sinbad breaks the phone, so they rush to the radio station because it's really close.
It's weird. This is an era when there were still a lot of payphones around, and not everyone had a cell phone. Like
Yeah.
cell phones were around enough, people didn't find them surprising, but not everyone had one.
Exactly.
There's two things that they both... Sinbad destroys the phone because he pulls it from the...
Yes.
Yeah,
the
he pulls it
box.
right out, yeah.
And they don't pay for their food and drinks. They just rush out. And the second thing is that's a reasonable reaction to think, oh, let's just rush down there. Like they told you to call, but I'm sure if you show up, like you can just do that.
If you show up and kick down the door to the DJ booth.
Which is what Arnold does.
Yeah.
They leave the radios or the restaurant without paying for their food, having ruined a payphone. None of which, I mean, they don't pay for any of it at all. And then when they get to the radio station, Schwarzenegger bursts his
Kicks
way.
the
Howard
door.
bursts his way through a door. It's a door that's got a big glass piece in it, which he shatters. And then he seems surprised that the host of the radio show will not let him participate in the contest. At this rate, you've broken a door. Do you think they're going to give you a toy? It doesn't matter if you know what all the reindeer are.
Like, yeah, you're in some trouble. Like,
Right? You need to talk to the police. Just talking to stay here, you're going to have a conversation. And he does, sort of, in a moment.
Yeah, I mean, the guy immediately calls 911 when he sees a frantic Arnold Schwarzenegger at his door, kicking shit in.
followed by Sinbad, who then has a package he claims is a bomb.
You imagine this guy with a weird accent, looks like a giant bodybuilder, and an obviously crazed mailman come kicking their way into your radio studio, demanding they be allowed to participate in a contest over 2 toys?
And if you don't give it to them, he's going to blow this place up.
Yeah, that's right. So Sinbad comes in with what he claims is a bomb. Yeah. The first guy kicks the fucking door and then says, "Let me answer the question." The second guy, the crazed mailman, comes in 10 seconds behind him and says, "I've got a bomb."
This is completely insane by this point. Yeah.
The bomb he says is a bomb is actually not a bomb because he throws it or he accidentally drops it and it starts playing a little tune and Arnold Schwarzenegger opens up the package only to find that it's like a music box.
Yeah. Which
But-
conveniently plays Jingle Bells.
Should play Jingle All The Way. The Jingle All The Way version at the beginning of the movie. Anyway, the cops show up at this point because the guy called 911, obviously. And, they get the drop on Sinbad and Arnold Schwarzenegger. But Sinbad pulls out another box and does the bomb thing again.
This time to, like, officers.
Yeah, to cops.
And amazingly, it works. He gets a group of police officers to put their guns on the ground because he claims he's got a bomb in a box.
Yeah, and Arnold just kind of slips away. Like, he just gets to leave. They both leave.
Yeah, they both just leave.
Yeah, he puts the bomb on the ground and he's like, all right, don't move. And then he walks out.
That would definitely work.
Yeah.
One of the cops, the recurring cop, the guy that pulled Arnold over at the beginning of the movie, he's like, I've been on the bomb squad for 10 years. Somehow he's now just a street cop, even though he used to be on the bomb squad. Well, I guess it's because he's not very good at it.
Right.
Because he picks up the bomb and he, like, sniffs it, and he shakes it, and he's like, it's not a bomb. And then it blows up in his face.
Yeah, which is weird because Sinbad mentioned that earlier. He's like, oh, people ship this stuff all the time. And, like, when he was faking the first one, and then they found out it wasn't, and then the second one, oh, it actually was a bomb. And Sinbad makes some stupid comment, like, oh, you all are crazy, or what does he say?
He says it's a sick world we're living in. And then he just brushes it off, never to mention it again.
And the bomb blows up in the most cartoony, Looney Toony way it possibly could. It's literally like exactly what happens to Elmer Fudd when Bugs gives him an explosive.
Yeah.
The guy's face is black and his hair is blasted back. And...
Yeah, it's just like a puff of smoke in his face, and he's like dazed, and he does like a backwards feint. It's so stupid. It doesn't hurt or kill anyone. Like, what's the point of a bomb if it does nothing?
I just really wanted to char the person and make them pass out who received it.
It doesn't even char. It just makes like it just adds black to their
Yeah.
skin, like black makeup.
black
It's really a
soot.
black powder explosive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, your clothes are ruined and you got to take a shower.
Yeah. Oh well. You need a wet nap. So Arnold Schwarzenegger is still on the hunt for the Turbo Man. He heads back home at this point, and he sees Ted in his house.
Again,
Ted in his house. It's like this guy fucking lives at his house, man. And Ted is putting up Arnold Schwarzenegger's star on his Christmas tree, which I guess at this point he's finally set over the edge. He's done with Ted's bullshit. He's like, oh, no one puts up my star on my Christmas tree.
That son of a... I'm out all day, and he's in my house, putting up my star on my tree.
I got a Turbo Man for Johnny months ago. It's nestled safely under our tree. Nestled safely under our tree. Safely under our tree.
I'll show him.
So he has the bright idea to go and steal a Turbo Man toy from Ted's house, which is under the tree.
yeah, because earlier Ted mentioned that he had his already under the tree, and that's when Arnold's like, oh, okay, I'll just go steal his. That'll show Ted.
Like I said, man, everyone in this movie is a piece of shit.
And I love how that's how Arnold's going to get back at him, not just go, like, beat the shit out of him or tell him to, like, not come to his house. I'm going to show him by stealing his Turbo Man doll.
Yeah, and it's not even like his Turbo Man doll. It's his kid. It's like, you know, it's like, it's not like gonna do much harm to Ted himself as it is gonna like upset his
He's
child.
probably gonna keep coming over because you didn't say anything. He's gonna wonder where the doll went, but then he's gonna keep being weird because you just don't seem to stand up to him.
Yeah. It's not gonna stop anything. You're right. But when he goes to Ted's house, he decides not to steal the doll and goes to put it back, and through a series of events that I can't exactly remember, completely destroys Ted's house.
Oh, he starts a fire. How does a fire start?
Well, because starts with him accidentally letting the reindeer into the house.
Oh, the reindeer.
Right?
Yeah,
So
the reindeer comes charging in.
He goes. The carolers show up. That's really what it is. So Ted and Howard's wife, Schwarzenegger's wife, realize that there are carolers outside, and Ted, in a move to be romantic in a creepy way, drags her outside to watch the carolers. And Schwarzenegger, Howard, can't leave through the front because he'll be seen by everybody. So he decides to go out the back door of Ted's house. But when he gets out the back door of the house, he meets the reindeer that has an unexplained issue with him and wants to attack him.
Yeah.
So he tries to run back into the house through the back door, but the reindeer follows him in, and that turns into a scuffle, and stuff gets knocked into the fireplace, which was left burning while no one's home for a completely inexplicable reason. Like, I don't know what kind of grown-up makes that decision, but fine.
A serial killer?
Right? Yeah, a guy who spends the entire movie trying to bang his bodybuilder neighbor's wife.
On Christmas Eve.
On Christmas Eve. So while Schwarzenegger's Howard is fighting the reindeer and eventually locking the reindeer in an office, he then realizes that stuff is on fire in the fireplace. And his response, rather than water or stamping or throwing something into it, whatever, like, he tries to pull it out and then sets a rug on fire or something like that. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Can we pause that for 1 second? We forgot to mention that when we first see the reindeer, Ted mentions that he named it Ted. So the reindeer is named Ted.
Yes.
Which was weird. So
No, wait. The kid named it Ted.
the kid named
The
it
kid
Ted.
says he named the reindeer Ted after his father.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was after his favorite movie, Bill and Ted.
But the reindeer is named Ted. So we have two Teds here.
Ted Theodore Logan, yeah.
Excellent!
And
So he trapped the reindeer and then he set the house on fire, kind of. Because it never really burns down, but...
No, but yeah, they put it out eventually.
Yeah.
He gets caught, though, obviously, up through all this noise and drama unfolding in the house.
And
you know.
fire.
Yeah, and the fire. They hear him, his wife and Ted, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, he's holding the Turbo Man toy. He's like, it's not what it looks like. I can explain. But of course he gets busted, and, you know, they walk out. They agree to go to the big fair, or not the fair, the parade together, yeah.
Ted seems oddly less than angry about what's happened in his house. Like, his reindeer has gotten in and is locked in an office, which it is probably still in the process of destroying.
Yeah, he's razor focused on fucking Liz.
No, don't forget that it's not in the office because Arnold let him out and then uppercutted him.
yeah, eventually. Well, that was the other thing, is eventually Schwarzenegger has to subdue the reindeer by literally punching it.
Yeah, there was that was a solid uppercut too. There's a scene where you just see him just clock that thing.
This is a moment I don't think would make it into a 2018 film. Schwarzenegger punching a reindeer in the face.
And he knocks the reindeer out. Like he just KOs him. Like the reindeer's out. He's like, oh, he did it. He just punched him.
And then he makes up for it by getting the reindeer drunk.
Oh,
yeah, they settle it over a couple of brews.
Couple Coronas.
Yeah.
They're family now.
I don't have friends. I got family.
This is my reindeer family.
Grab a Corona for your family.
One last ride.
One last sleigh ride.
Yeah, that's a great scene. He's just sitting in the back, just drinking with the reindeer. He's giving him beer and chilling with him, just drinking.
So they go to the parade, and Arnold Schwarzenegger Howard, I should call him Howard.
Yeah.
I always do this.
Me too.
So he follows him to the parade. He doesn't follow him, but, you know, he wants to join his family for the parade and make amends. But he bumps into that cop again. So he accidentally hits the cop, or spills coffee on him, I think. I don't remember exactly how, but he encounters the cop, and the cop starts chasing him. And while he's running from the cop near the parade, he walks into a building where guys immediately start dragging him and putting a new outfit on him.
So we
Yeah, like
actually-
they mob him. There's like how many guys, and they just don't listen to him and just start outfitting him.
Yeah, like 7 guys are just grabbing him and taking his gear off and just putting new gear on him, just like fast as the eye can see, you know?
Like no time to explain. Like the guy actually tries to, but he's just rambling, and the whole time there's just hands everywhere, just putting everything on him.
Like, are you the guy? You must be the guy. Put the stuff on him. Get him ready to go. A guy walked in the door. It has to be the guy.
Here's this dude. He's muscular. Must be the guy.
And they have a person that does like everything. They have like 2 people doing his pants. They have 1 guy with the helmet. They have like 3 guys with his shirt, and they have just hands everywhere. They have like an unlimited amount of people just doing everything to him. He's just getting groped in every direction.
Yeah.
Howard just can't resist it. There's nothing he can do. He can't even speak up to say, I'm not the guy you're looking for. Stop putting a costume on.
Maybe
push
if they
anybody.
were dressed as Santa Claus, he'd be able to fend him off.
Right.
But I think that's only in that scenario is he able to put up a good fight. Or if they're reindeer.
So yeah, and then he gets dressed up like Turbo Man. So you find out he's the replacement for that guy who didn't show up or whatever
Yeah,
happened.
he's going to play Turbo Man in the parade, which
Yeah.
is like the big spectacle of the parade. Like, it's like the main event character.
It's a Turbo Man obsessed world. That's the main event.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Turbo Man.
Everyone keeps talking about the fact that Turbo Man's going to appear at the parade. Even another adult at one point says to Schwarzenegger, you know, Turbo Man's going to be at the arcade.
Can you just take 4th Street?
Sorry, pal, all the roads are packed. Everybody's trying to get to the parade. You know, Turbo Man's gonna be there.
I know.
Right. No one acknowledges that it's just going to be a guy dressed like Turbo Man that's just waving at
Turbo
people.
Man.
That's the weirdest part is they're all excited about it as if the real Turbo Man is going to make an appearance at this
As if Turbo Man is a real man. There is no fucking Turbo Man, you
Man.
maniacs.
Did you guys hear Spider-Man? The actual Spider-Man's going to
Yeah.
show up at this parade? Like,
Has everyone in this world gone mad?
Am I the last sane person on this godforsaken planet? Imagine being just dropped into this universe. There's no fucking Turbo Man. It'd be like an episode of The Twilight Zone.
right? Can you imagine another person in their 30s being like, oh, God, I can't wait to see Superman this weekend at the parade.
Yeah.
Superman's gonna be there.
Superman's going to be there.
Like, Superman?
The Superman.
Nicolas
so-
Cage? Superman?
Right? Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I don't know. I mean, do you go with him or Brandon Routh? Like, what's like the guy who played Superman once or the guy who almost played Superman
Yeah, I'm
once?
sure Brandon Routh is a nice guy, but he's just a poor man's Christopher Reeve, let's be honest. He was cast for one reason.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's true.
He can take a bullet to the eye, though, I'll tell you that.
Oh, well, you know, to his credit, he had no upper lip problems during the course of that film.
I'll give him that.
So Arnold's become Turbo Man now, and he gets kind of just plopped into the parade. How does
Yeah.
he even like get there? He just kind of shows up in the float.
They put him on a platform that elevates up
Yeah.
to the float somehow.
Yeah, how does that? How
I
does
have
that
no
work?
idea, actually, because he's not underground.
No, and they started off like he's in a warehouse.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking now. Like, how did he get onto
And
the
somehow
float?
this warehouse has an elevator that goes directly into a float.
I'm like struggling to piece that together now because they never explain it. He just kind of just pops up in the
You know,
float.
the more you think about this film, the more obvious it becomes it wasn't meant for anyone over like 10.
Why we watched it, I'll never know. Why you guys picked this over the Santa Claus is completely fucking beyond me.
I have no idea. Somehow my memory of this was of it being the better of the two, and I was so
Oh,
wrong.
come on, man. You know who's in the Santa Claus?
Tim Allen and Jonathan. Jonathan Taylor Thomas was his son on the show. Who played his son in the movie?
I don't know, some little dipshit.
God.
But it has Bernard the Elf. So I could have cut in Spider-Man 3 clips. Bernard.
Right. That's right.
We squandered that opportunity.
We also could have watched Elf. That movie's stupid.
It is pretty stupid. I don't like Elf.
Would you
but
just get some Turbo Man?
I'm gonna have to cut that out.
Right.
I don't want people writing in.
Right. Absolutely. That's going to elicit some really negative responses.
People like that movie a
They
lot.
do.
Yeah.
Take my part out.
I mean, it's all right. It's just not
Yeah,
for
that's
me.
exactly. Like I
Right.
don't like hate it, but it's just
Yeah.
So Arnold gets inexplicably like lifted into the stage. So he just gets there somehow on the float.
Yeah.
And he's Turbo Man now.
And he's next to his sidekick Booster.
Booster.
Yeah. So there's a guy in a Booster costume. The guy that was Booger in Revenge of the Nerds.
And Snot on American Dad.
Yeah.
So Arnold looks weird because he has no idea what's going on still, and Booster tells him to wave. and he starts getting the hang of it, and that's when he sees his son. Or
He becomes a really good waver. Like,
yeah. And he sees Jamie in the crowd.
Yeah, that's his son's name,
Yeah.
Anakin.
He sees Anakin.
Young Hayden Christensen.
And Arnold starts to enjoy it. He's like all happy, and he's happy about it. Like he's having fun. Like he totally forgot what's happened the entire day, or like what happened earlier, and that he still needs to get the Turbo Man doll, and that he shouldn't even be there. He's like getting into it. He's like, oh, this is cool now, and he's like
live
happy
in the
to
moment,
be there.
man. Enjoy your situation. You might be wanted by the cops and or the FBI, but just set that aside for the moment.
You got maced earlier. Sinbad maced him earlier.
Yeah, during their squabble, Sinbad maced him at one point.
I mean, an elf used a taser on him.
Yeah.
Like,
You've been mazed. You've been tased. You've been maced, tased. You've been driving around. You've been fighting people.
Right.
And now he's like all happy that he's in this parade.
He's got a lot to stress about. You're right. But in the parade, one of the big points of it is that Turbo Man is going to give like an exclusive Turbo Man toy to a kid in the audience at the parade.
Yeah, it's like a special one. It has some kind of like silver plating, or you can tell it looks a little different.
Yeah,
It's like
I
an
mean, to me, it
exclusive
looks like
one.
shit, actually.
Yeah.
The toy, but in the context of the film, it's supposed to be nice.
Yeah.
So, of course, he chooses his son in the crowd. He points to him and he, calls him out. The kid comes up and he gives him the doll. The kid's super happy. But then we get Dementor, who's the Turbo Man villain. He shows up. And apparently Sinbad mugged the guy that was going to be Dementor and was going to drop in on the parade. They were going to do a little choreographed fight, I guess. But Sinbad takes his outfit and shows up. And they have a not-so-choreographed fight.
That the crowd never seems to think is not normal. Throughout the whole thing, the crowd just is cheering, and they think it's all part of the show.
Yeah, they really expect a lot from this parade. So Dementor and Arnold Schwarzenegger as Turbo Man start fighting, and that's where we get a couple reveals that Turbo Man suit he has is actually a complete, fully functional Turbo Man suit. Like, it can do everything that Turbo Man can do. It has a boomerang that's magic. It has these little disc launchers that he shoots at his face. It has a fully functional and working jetpack that it can actually fly around with.
A lot of fuel that he never seems to run out of.
Yeah.
And he can achieve hundreds of feet of altitude on.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I mean, are jetpacks just a thing, or did they make one specially for this? Because you got to remember, this cannot be our universe. This Turbo Man obsessed, insane world that these people live in.
Like, where even adults think that the guy at the parade might be the actual Turbo Man.
Imagine if you went to a parade, there was a guy in an Iron Man costume, and he just started like flying, like Iron Man style. Like, would you just be like, clap, like, yeah, good parade?
Yeah,
or would you be like,
No.
oh my fucking god, and
What is
immediately break
happening?
out your phone and start filming it? And like,
I'd look at whoever else
live
I'm
streaming
with.
this
I'd
shit.
look at both of you guys if you were there. I'd be like, are you guys seeing this? Like, or is anyone else? What
How
is
much
happening?
acid did I take?
Right, yeah. I mean, who put what kind of hallucinogen in my drink? It's cool, but I want to know what I took.
Where are the
Like,
police? Should we leave? Like, is this place dangerous?
This is a world-changing event.
Right? Like, I don't remember ingesting DMT, but whatever.
And presumably people that just make parade floats designed this.
Yeah, where did the jetpack come from? Like, where do you go to get a jetpack for a superhero costume? You're like, I need this to work.
The United States government,
Right?
some secret lab. I need a jetpack for this parade.
So the reason Sinbad shows up dressed as Dementor is because he wants to steal the doll. The doll. I fucking hate that word. I
Right.
watched this movie and now I'm saying doll. It's an action figure, goddammit, or a toy. So
Don't call me doll.
yeah. Oh my god.
Don't ever call me doll.
No. Space Jam memories.
Space jamming them right back into your head.
Oh god. Oh, no more furry memes. Okay.
God.
I think at one point Sinbad even says, Sinbad gets kind of pissed off about that too, because he says, oh, action figure. I think Arnold calls it a doll.
Yeah.
And Sinbad's like, action figure.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. You ever have people call your toys like dolls when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah.
That
Not
shit was infuriating to me.
particularly, but yeah, that's weird.
I had like 20 X-Men toys all lined up like in this epic battle, and someone might walk through, like one of my dad's friends, be like, oh, he's playing with his dolls. Like, fuck you, bitch. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, these are not Barbies. These are X-Men.
Yeah.
Okay. You're
all
gonna,
sorts of crazy powers that like kill people and do crazy shit.
this is a phoenix. You're gonna show due deference. Like,
Sit down, hand him a comic book. Let me educate you.
right? Let me teach you all about how evil Apocalypse really is. Okay.
Yeah, you read this and then call them dolls.
Right. I remember explaining to my mother that Thanos in the comics was trying to impress the personification of death.
Yeah.
And she was like, wait, these are comic books?
Right.
Right. Odd that they didn't include that in any of the films.
I heard some guy explaining to that to some chick at the gym like last week or the week before. I thought it was a very interesting way to flirt. Like, you know what Thanos was really all about? Well, let me tell you. Have a seat.
Who digs that out to a woman under any circumstances? This is like, unless you're at Comic Con.
I was gonna say, you said he was at a gym, like,
Right.
especially at the gym. Like, oh, she looks like she's into Thanos.
Yeah, you know what I think this woman really wants to know about right now is what Thanos was all about. The real Thanos.
Sit down. Let me educate you, little lady.
Are you familiar with the horsemen of the apocalypse?
Yeah.
Have I explained to you the angel-archangel dichotomy?
Do you think he goes to Comic-Con and starts talking about fitness?
Beast didn't always
Yeah,
have
this
the
guy
hair.
is completely out of place wherever he goes. He goes to a girl at Comic-Con that's like dressed up as like 7 of 9, like from Star Trek, and he's like, "Let me tell you about squats."
Here's how to do a bench press correctly.
Yeah.
So, okay, back to Jingle All The Way.
Yeah.
He's
Where were
fighting
we?
Dementor.
Yeah, so he's fighting Dementor with his full powers.
And the other guys, like what are those little creatures? Like the other guys jump out at him.
The putties.
The putties.
Just call them the fucking putties. You can call them foot soldiers if you want.
I like putties. So
Yeah.
the putties, Arnold has to fight them too, and they're like swarming him, and
Yeah.
he's like
They're
punching
like
them.
beating the shit out of him, saying, "Don't you know the choreography?" Like, I'm like, are they punishing him for not knowing the
Right,
choreography? Because they're clearly hitting him for real and choking him.
Oh, this is the great scene where they knock Booster off the float.
Yeah.
And then all the kids start like kicking him and jumping in on Booster.
Yeah.
Buddy, this ain't the way we rehearsed it. You know what? Nobody likes you, Booster. Oh, wow!
We don't like you, Dad! We hate you,
So there's this unrelenting hatred for Booster. So they beat the shit out of him. Like kids that are just
Children.
on the sidelines of the parade just start like kicking him while he's down, like stomping him out.
And none of the adults say a thing. They all seem to think it's fantastic that their kids just swarmed a guy in a Booster costume.
I'm telling you, Turbo Man is too big in this universe. Even the adults hate Booster.
Right.
They all share the same opinions.
They hate his sidekick. Booster's his sidekick. He's supposed
The
to
good
help
guy.
him. He's like part of he's a good guy. He's Turbo Man's sidekick. Like, no, fuck
And if you've
Booster.
never seen this movie, I don't know why you're listening to this, but if you've never seen this movie, Booster is like a giant pink furry bear / saber-toothed tiger thing in a golden
like
thong.
a humanoid saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah.
But he's like pink.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like the man-bear pig of this universe.
Yeah. Someone call, what's his name?
Trey Parker or Matt Stone?
No, the guy that always says man bear pig in the show.
Oh, is that Uncle Jimbo or is it Al Gore?
Al Gore, that's the one.
Right.
And it's weird, like they don't even seem like they fit together. Turbo Man's this buff guy in a suit, and then Booster's this humanoid pink creature. Like, how are they a team? Like,
How did
where
these
did
two get
Booster
together?
come from?
Yeah. I mean, it's explained in the comics, but you clearly haven't read them.
Oh, excuse me.
Should have been a Turbo Man prequel.
Yeah.
Get this background story out of the way.
Show Booster's history.
They were finally going to give you guys the origin story you've been waiting for.
Booster origins.
I'm sure he was rescued from another dimension or another planet or the moon or something.
Turbo Man origins. All right, so yeah, the kids hate Booster inexplicably, and they start kicking him.
So, yeah, this is where Dementor Sinbad is chasing down Anakin.
Yeah.
So he's chasing him around, and then the kid climbs up a building, like a ladder on the side of a building, and they're on a rooftop, and he starts climbing this high up Christmas ornament. Like his method of getting away is just to climb the highest thing.
So I think we lost a little bit. I just want to make mention of Dementor had a bit of a physical altercation with Schwarzenegger, leading up to Schwarzenegger being swarmed by the sidekicks. But there's a scene during this where Sinbad as Dementor oh God, what was the name of the bad guy in Inspector Gadget?
Dr. Claw.
Dr. Claw reminds me a little bit of Dr. Claw. He like launches his hand. He launches his Dementor hand at Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it flies and it hits the wall behind him, and then somehow he's able to command it back to his arm, even though there's no like water.
And then he moves his fingers.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is once it's back on the arm, he can then move the fingers on it. Like did you disconnect your real hand from your body?
This was a suit.
Hey, all right. Maybe in the Jingle All The Way universe, science is extremely advanced,
right?
But they're held back, the regular citizens, because of Turbo Man. Like maybe Turbo Man was invented by the government to keep the citizens at bay. And there's all this crazy technology that exists, and it's common, but people just don't use it.
Right, it's got to be a.
Oh, man, we could go pretty deep with this.
Yeah, I mean, I should not have to do that much digging to explain something so simple, but yes.
You don't want to read my Jingle All The Way fanfic. It's.
I've heard it's quite erotic.
Yeah. Yeah, Phil Hartman gets the girl. Let's just say that, you know?
Lots of Ted.
Don't forget Booster.
No.
He's a furry.
No fucking furries. Not in my fanfic, son.
We are really going to alienate ourselves from the furry audience.
Oh, yeah.
That was just fine. I'm sorry, but...
I'm sure they're really good people.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
So, Arnold's son, or Jamie, is, like you said, just climbing the highest thing you can find. And at this point, the audience still thinks this is part of the show. The only person who's concerned is his mom, who says, "That's my son climbing that building."
Yeah, that
But
rooftop.
even the officers don't... Even the officer thinks it's part of the show. He says something like, "Oh, he's really good." Or
Yeah.
she's like telling the officer, like, "Hey, my son is climbing that building. Please help." And his response is like, "Oh, your son's a good actor."
Why did the cops think that a kid that got picked out of the audience at random is a participant in the show?
He's climbing a building and then climbing
I
a
guess I
sign
think it's like a
on the
work,
building.
like a, like Andy
Oh, it's like a
Kaufman
plant.
wrestling, like
He goes from the getting on the building, which is weird enough, but then he climbs that sign, which definitely shouldn't be climbed.
fuck no.
Yeah, that's
it
like
breaks.
way dangerous.
And
Yeah.
then they're dangling from it.
While the kid's hanging there. That's when the cops suddenly realize, oh, wait, that's not part of the show.
Yeah. Oh my god, is that Sinbad dressed as Dementor?
What's going on here? Something's wrong. Like the slowest cops ever.
Yeah.
I was
they-
aware of his sassy stand-up, not his career as a villain.
Yeah, didn't he play Kazam? No, that was Shaq.
Oh my god, we should do something.
That's not Shaq? Oh, my God.
Oh, so Arnold uses his Turbo Man boomerang weapon to knock Sinbad from the railing he's holding onto.
Yeah, I hate this boomerang trope. So everyone knows the boomerang trope. The guy throws the boomerang at whatever he's targeting, and it misses. And the guy's like, haha, you missed me. And then it comes back and it hits
did
him in
I?
the back. I'm so fucking done with that. I never want to see that again, ever.
You're not a boomerang fan?
No.
Another thing stolen from a Batman movie, Batman Returns. He saves Selena Kyle from one of the clowns.
Yeah.
It shoots past the clown. The clown's like, ah, you missed me. And
Yeah.
then he pulls the piece out of the wall.
Like no
Again,
villain ever understands how a boomerang works.
When why? They imply the sound effects and stuff imply that it's made of metal. Like, why would he have a functional heavy metal boomerang as part of a costume for a character? It just kind of underlines the fact that they've tried to.
Turbo Man is Australian.
Okay, that's what it is.
Well, that's the least of his weapons. He has a fucking jetpack.
Right, but I mean, yeah, it's way overkill. But yeah, I mean, why shouldn't it be like a plastic toy thing? It's supposed to look real, and why does it function? It's very weird. I don't know.
No, yeah, it's absolutely weird. And that they, going back to the guys who mobbed him, that they just strapped all this crazy gear on some random person. Like all that crazy shit, you would think like we have to make sure you're the right guy. Some random guy has all this crazy shit you just gave him.
Yeah.
Here's this weaponized boomerang and a jetpack, and we know you haven't been trained, but by the way, this stuff killed the last guy. Well, almost killed the last guy. We think it's safe now, so go for it.
So here you go. Just give it to this random stranger.
So bad.
So yeah, he defeats Dementor
Yep.
by knocking him off the railing. And then his kid falls and he uses the jetpack to swoop in and save the kid.
Yeah, he does the classic save the day.
Yeah.
He catches the kid as he's falling.
Because he now knows how to operate the jetpack. He didn't know how to operate like 2 minutes ago.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, he figured it out pretty quick. Good for him, you know?
That's the way it always works. I didn't. It's the trope thing. He spends 30 seconds trying to figure out how to use it, almost kills himself, and then immediately he's an expert.
Yeah, he can save his falling kid.
So he returns the kid to his wife, and the kid is, pretty excited about this whole scenario, except for one thing. He says, "Oh man, I wish my dad was here to see this." And then Arnold Schwarzenegger, who you can clearly see is Arnold Schwarzenegger because it's just a helmet with a little yellow visor over his eyes. He takes off the helmet, the big stupid fucking reveal. "I was here the whole time," or whatever stupid fucking line he gives.
It was me all along.
Yeah.
I am Turbo Man.
"Hey, Bennett."
Let off some steam, Bennett.
Yeah, and then the kid's all impressed, like, "Wow, you're Turbo Man."
Yeah. So the kid has the doll, and he's like, "I don't really need the doll," and he gives it to Sinbad. What's his reasoning for that?
Oh, because he has the real Turbo Man at home.
Yeah.
But Jamie, I thought you wanted this doll more than anything.
What do I need the doll for? I got the real Turbo Man at home.
That's my husband.
Stupid, corny.
Fucking cringe, man.
Yeah, cringe. Yeah, I have the real Turbo.
Right. Howard should have been like, no, this jetpack is a one-time deal.
Yeah, I'm going to prison pretty soon, kid.
Right.
For like a lot of different things, like how Sinbad is, but you're not. The cop even shows up and like looks at him, and it's like, "Oh, that's you."
As far as the police are concerned, I used a bomb to escape from a crime scene and then tried to blow them up with it. So, yeah.
Not to mention he impersonated a cop earlier.
Right.
A detective.
He grabbed that kid.
But otherwise, they totally would have let me keep this functional jetpack.
He kicked in the DJ booth. Did you say that already?
Yeah, that door's broken.
Yeah, they broke a phone.
He punched some Santas. He didn't pay for his meal at the diner.
Yeah.
Sinbad's character choked a woman.
Yeah.
Oh, but Sinbad's going to jail. But Arnold's fine. And the kid gives him the doll, like he can use that when he's going to jail. Like, they're just going to take it from him. It's going to sit like in an evidence locker.
Yeah, it'll be with his personal possessions for the 3 to 5 years he's going to serve for all of this.
So when he gets out in 2001, he gets a Turbo Man doll from like 5 years
His
ago.
kid will be like 15.
Yeah. Turbo Man isn't cool anymore. We're all about VR troopers now, Dad. Don't you know?
Well, you wouldn't know because you've been in jail for the last 5 years.
Here's to you, Dad.
Oh, God.
So Sinbad goes to jail, and Arnold makes up with his son, and they're all happy, and
yep,
everything's like a fairy tale ending. His son loves him, and they just completely ignore everything else that happened.
Yeah.
It just took all of that for Arnold to bond with his son. Like, what a shitty-ass parent.
Well, let's talk about this, because I think we skipped it over in the beginning. We'll start with you, Steve. So what was your history with this movie, and then give it a rating of your choice?
Oh, man. I believe my mother took my brother and I to see this while we were on Christmas break in 96. I would have been 13, like a month shy of turning 14. I don't recall disliking it, but I don't recall really liking it either. From the perspective of today, oh man, on a scale of 1 to 10 action figures, like
on a scale of 1 to 10 Turbo Mans.
Turbo Mans, right? I'm gonna give it.
Turbo Mans would you give?
You know what? I'm not even gonna rate it as Turbo Mans. I'm gonna rate it as Boomers. Boosters. Excuse me. I can't even remember his name. I'm gonna rate it on the scale of 1 to 10 Boosters because he's the hated character for the film, and I'm gonna give this 4 Boomers. It's lower than average. The only reason it even gets 4 is because they actually managed to make it a movie. So, other than that, nothing I can say about it.
So, I never saw this movie. I never had it. I knew of it for a while. What I remember from this movie is the scenes where they're fighting in the store. Like, there was the scenes where they show them sliding and they're, like, fighting over the doll and the people are everywhere. I just remember those scenes, but I never saw the movie until we watched it. On a scale of 1 to 10 boosters, I would have to give it a 3. The whole thing was ridiculous. It was barely entertaining, and I didn't get the point of the whole Ted character. That part was just uncomfortable.
He didn't need to be there at all.
I felt really uncomfortable on a lot of those Ted scenes. Like, why is this in here?
Sounds like you've known someone like Ted in your life, Alan.
No. It was just weird. Like, it's a Christmas movie, and they're about the doll, and why would they add Ted in there? That was just really awkward every time. Like, this weird subplot that's not even a subplot. Like, let's just add Phil Hartman to be weird. So that definitely dropped a booster off the score.
Add Phil Hartman to be weird.
So 3 out of 10 boosters.
All right. Well, I saw this movie when I was 10, and I loved it. At least liked it a lot. I remember telling people about it and describing the ending, how cool I thought it was that he has a real Turbo Man suit and it can do all these powers. And I thought that line at the very end, I got the real Turbo Man at home. I thought that was like really heartwarming and like.
Right.
And now I watch it and I'm such like a cynical old man now. I'm just like, ugh. Fuck you and your Christmas movie.
Right. Shove it.
Yeah, he's not going to be Turbo Man when you go back home. He's going to be dad again when he has to go back to work.
He's going to be selling mattresses again, kid. You fucking cherish this moment.
3 weeks from now, he's going to be back to missing your belt ceremonies. I would just keep the toy.
I did not enjoy this movie now. It's safe to say I don't like it anymore. On a rating system of on a rating system of good or bad, I'll just keep it that simple. I'm going to say bad. I don't like it. I don't think it's a holiday classic by any means.
No.
It's stupid. I don't understand this Turbo Man obsessed world they live in. It's not a good thing.
This dystopian.
I don't think people should watch it.
World.
They can if they want, but they probably shouldn't do that. There's better things to do with your life, like record a podcast about it.
I mean, I guess the takeaway here is if you've got a kid that's under 12, they might be entertained by it. But
you know, I was thinking
try.
about that in my head. I don't know if my kid has seen this. I'm gonna find out.
No way. They love Fortnite now. All the kids have the internet and Minecraft.
Yeah, my kid does not play Fortnite.
Right? Thank God.
Okay,
yeah,
what up, Minecraft?
My little brother plays Fortnite, and let's just say I feel it's had a negative impact on him.
How can it not?
I'll leave it at that. My mom listens to this.
All right, anyways.
So I have a quick question for you guys before we wrap up.
Yes.
Who do you think would win in a fight, Turbo Man or Mr. Freeze? Both played by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, considering that within the context of the films, Mr. Freeze actually has some kind of power.
Mr. Freeze has like actual weapons.
He has a gun.
Yeah, and he can freeze them, and he's a genius. I think Mr. Freeze wins that fight.
So you think Batman and Robin version of Mr. Freeze beats Jingle All The Way, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Turbo Man?
Yeah, I mean, and bearing in mind that version of Mr. Freeze is a whole conversation by itself. It's so terrible. But
a conversation I'm sure we'll get to.
Oh, absolutely. Unfortunately, and I do mean that genuinely, we will definitely get there.
Well, pretty soon we're going to be picking out of a hat the next episode. I put down a bunch of movies, and I put them on paper and put them in a hat. I'm going to have Steve draw that in a moment to see which movie we're going to do next.
Oh, God.
But I was just thinking, how funny would it have been if they're all Batman and Robin? Because you didn't see me write them down.
No.
I didn't do that, but that would be a good gag.
That would have been a truly Joker move.
Yeah.
Right.
It would have been the best if they all said...
Kobayashi Maru'd it.
Ooh.
It would have been the best if they all said Jingle All The Way.
We're going to rewatch this shit.
Or I'll say Turbo Man. So like
This is
infected our universe.
96 was 22 years ago. This is the first time in 22 years I've actually sat through that movie, and I can honestly say I hope it's at least another 22 years before it happens again.
I'm gonna remember that now. You have to remember that.
Yeah,
so we're recording reminder.
Well, it's recorded, so we're good. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
December 15th, 16 years from now, or 22 years from now. It's 2040, so December 15th, 2040, I gotta watch this movie
Jingle
again.
All The Way again.
Right.
Oh my God.
All right, Steve, what do you say you reach into the hat and draw a name? The next episode of Big Dumb Movie is going to be on the name you draw.
All right. Should I just leave it where it is and dip my hand in?
Here, I'll
probably
scoot
shake
over.
it a little or something.
All right.
But don't look. Okay, yeah.
Well, you can look. You won't be able to see them. They're folded up. So
Okay.
yeah, it's fine.
It'll be random.
Just draw whatever one feels right. So the movie that Steve is drawn to is...
Oh, man. All right, I'm unfolding it. I actually got my own, Drop Dead Fred.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh, no way.
That was entirely unintentional, by the way.
I have not seen that movie.
It is a weird-ass movie. Definitely, but it's got Phoebe Cates and Princess Leia in it, so...
Yeah,
let's see that.
can't go wrong, man.
Can't go wrong, and Rick Mail, rest his soul.
I'm going to have to put my love for Phoebe Cates aside for a minute.
Oh, God, yeah. Ooh. Bringing that up has gotten me in trouble before.
All right, so it's Drop Dead Fred. Let me verify.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's true. All right. Well,
Oh,
I think that's all we got for this episode. We'll see you next time on Big Dumb Movie, where we talk about the 1991 smash Drop Dead Fred.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, you guys know more than me. I haven't seen that at all.
I'm guessing at the year.
Somewhere in that general vicinity.
We'll be
But
sure to look it up.
We're gonna double check that so this doesn't become a repeat of the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
So that's 91 with an asterisk for the moment.
Until next time, true believers.
See ya.
All right.
Good night.
Put that cookie down now!